working with Easy Tables feature of mobile app using Azure portal. So here first we have to go to the project, to the portal, and here as usual first let us create a new mobile app. I'll call it as Easy Table Mobile App Demo. In our existing resource group and click on create. Now, unlike in the previous example, here we are going to create a table from the portal itself. What we did earlier, we downloaded a server project and we downloaded a client project, and when we published a server project, through code first approach of entity framework, the tables were created. But now it is not like that. We are not going to make use of the code first approach. We are going to explicitly go to Azure portal and there we are going to create the table directly. So let us see now. Yes, we have ET mobile app demo. And here we should now directly choose the option of Easy Tables. Easy Tables. But for this table to store, obviously we need database. Need to configure Easy Tables. Click here. First, connect to a database. We already have the database connection, which we can simply make use of. We'll use DSS demo DB, which we created in the previous example. The same thing. Need to give the username, password. Click on OK. So database connection is established. Now initialize your app service to use Easy Tables. Note that this will overwrite your existing site content. So whatever we have, all that is going to be overwritten. We are fine with it. Rather, we have nothing. After this, we are going to have a facility where we can add tables now as per the requirement. App service app backend initialization. That's what is happening. So post, I'm going to create an easy table, my to do, and I'll add columns like task and completed. 2 additional columns I would like to add here. So click on add. I will call it as my to do, and we would like to give anonymous permission for all the operations: insert, update, delete, read, undelete. All these permissions we would like to give to anonymous user. Authentication we'll see later. Now go to the schema of the table. You can say manage schema, and here add the 2 columns. One I'll call it as task, which is of type string, and the other I'll say is completed. Is the task completed or not completed? And it is of type boolean. So only 4 data types are allowed. So in background, what is going to happen? In the database, the new table has been created. And in that table, all my data is going to be stored. That means now we are not going to have a server project. We are only going to have a client project, and that client project also we will have to build it from scratch. We'll have to follow the procedure of creating a new project, Windows Store project, and do everything manually. So let me start now. Visual Studio, new project. Here we have to choose Windows Store app, Windows 8, and here we can choose blank app, Universal Windows 8.1. Let's give a name to this project, Easy Table Client Demo App. Mobile apps. So what did we get here? Windows Phone, Windows, and of course a shared app. Now I'm not worried about the phone aspect, let us say right now. I want to do everything in my Windows app. So first thing I'll have to do is provide an interface for communication with the server so that we can add a to do. But before that, we need to provide a class which represents our to do. I'll call it as my to do. My to do. And this class is supposed to be exactly the same way we have here. Now, mind you, we have ID, we have got task, and we have got completed. There are other columns though, but I am not interested. Now, because we are using C uppercase, and in portal when I created a column, I used C lowercase, I need to provide this JSON property mapper. But if the case here and the case in portal are same for the easy table we created there, we don't even need this JSON property mapper. Here JSON property is in NuGet package, which we are going to get the reference to after we add a NuGet package for mobile client SDK. Search for mobile client SDK. So here we have Microsoft Azure mobile.client. Click on install. Now what I would like to do is to create the UI, I would like to use all this XAML. Instead of rebuilding it, I'll copy and paste it in my main page.xaml. Simple. So my interface is ready. Of course, I'm using only the 50% part of my workspace, work area. So now I need to provide handlers for all these buttons. Let us say right now we are not even interested in login. We would want to deal with it later. Task, txt task, where I'm going to mention the task string. When I click on the add button, it should be added and saved through mobile on server. So we are already having a method here, btn add click. So double click on it, btn add underscore click. I have exclude completed. That means I'm going to have a list box here, which is going to display all the items which are there in the to-do list. But when this check mark is checked, all those items which are completed, I would like to exclude. So that is the logic. Mark first as completed. Through code, the first item in the to-do list, I would like to mark it as completed. And delete all completed tasks. Whatever has completed, all that I would like to delete. So now we need to write code for all these things. So for this, we need to have a object of mobile service client, which is in Microsoft.Windows Azure.mobile service namespace. So I would like to get the client, and to this we have to provide the mobile app URL. Where do we get that from? Here. Just go to the overview and copy the URL, and as it is, paste it here. Now this is the complete client object, but what we need is a table object. So for that we have got iMobile service table, and we want a generic, we want to deal with my to do. So I'll call it as to do table, and the right place for initialization of this to do table, I'll do it in the constructor. To do table is equal to, through client we should say get table, and the generic version where I'll say my to do. So automatically from server, the easy table which we created, its reference we are going to get here in to do table. Once we have the to do table reference, what is that we should do? We have to write code for showing all the data in the list view. So for that I'll write a separate method, bind to do's. So here whatever list we have, first let us clear that. Now we want to get the list of all to do's from server. So list of my to do, I'll call it as items. Now how do we get them? But to get them also we have already used a checkbox. If the checkbox is checked, we would like to get only completed items, and if it is unchecked, we would like to get all the items. So I am going to use here, if the if condition, if chk exclude completed dot is checked dot value, if checked, items is equal to do table dot where we have to give. We have to write a lambda expression basically. Item dot completed if is equal to false. Error. Okay. Now we have to convert this to toList. Now toList async. It's an async method. So when it is async method, we have to write here await. And when we use await here, the method by itself is supposed to become async. Task API. So this is going to make an asynchronous call, and on completion we are going to get items. Of course, when it is making an asynchronous call, our mobile app can be used for performing any other operation. Now once we get the items, okay, of course the else part also we have to write. Items is equal to, here I want to get all the items without any filter. So to do table dot to list async, that's it. Now we have to go through each item in the items collection and add the items to the task. So I'll give item.task and I'll concatenate with status, that is completed or not. Now this completed is of type boolean. So instead of getting true or false, I would like to get, if completed, use the string completed, else use incomplete or pending. conditional operator I have used. So this bind to do's I'll call in constructor. I will also call the same method in checkbox click. That's it. So every time I check, I want to call that method. Okay. Precedence issue. Now mark first item as completed. Now how do we mark the first item as completed? For this, first we have to get the first item, for which I'll use again items is equal to await to do table dot where, and this time the condition is item dot completed is equal to false dot to list async, and of course we are interested in only the one to do item. That to do item we can get it from items of 0. Now because we are using await async. Now once we get that, we have to mark the to do item as completed. So to do item dot completed is equal to true. Now this item has to be updated, for which we have a ready-made to do table dot update async. Just give the item to be updated, and after it is updated we might want to refresh it in case we are, because it has to update the list view with completed. So bind to do's. Then next we have delete all completed tasks. How to delete all completed tasks? First we have to get all the items which are completed. So this time the condition is completed. We get all the items. Now go through each item in the items collection. Add here async, and when we get the item, we'll have to mark that item as deleted. So where item is equal to, for each item we already got the item, just say await to do table dot delete async. What? The item. So we are going through all the items, and one item at a time we are marking it as deleted. And here of course we'll say bind to do's. We are left with only one more method, that is add. The most important. Unless we add, we cannot delete. So for adding, create a my to do item. Set the properties, that is task, which is my text box text. Of course completed by default is false only, and now use to do table dot insert async, and after insert we would like to refresh. So we are able to get all the to-dos, we are able to add a to-do, we are able to exclude those which are completed, we are able to mark a particular item as complete. In our case we have taken the first item, we are going to delete. So with ease we are able to communicate with the table. And how all this has become easy? Because of the iMobile service table interface, which is initialized through iMobile service client, mobile service client, and get table. So it is so easy to make use of the SDK. Without we doing many things, most of the things are happening behind the scene. Now let us run this application. Control and F5. JSON property could not be found. Yeah, for this we have to add the reference to NuGet, that is Newton Soft. JSON. Because JSON serialization is going to happen as the client SDK request will be converted to REST format and submitted to server. So here we are doing simple .toList async, but remember in background a REST request is constructed out of it. To this particular URL the request is sent, and along with the request the table name will be submitted, that is my to do, and the response is going to be used in the application here for constructing the to do objects, and we get the reference to the list directly. So there is a lot of code in background which is executing. JSON property, okay, the namespace issue. Now run this. Main page does not contain definition for CHK. Exclude completed click. Why is it not there? CHK exclude completed dot checked it is. Okay, we want clicked. We don't want checked. We want it to execute in either case. Now bind to do's. So actually speaking, this method is not needed. Checked. Checked will execute only when you check the item. We want it to execute whenever it is checked or unchecked. Remove this. Now let's execute. Perfect. So now let us add the first item. 1. After adding, we are calling bind to do, that is going to refresh it here. Pending. Give 2. Exclude completed. Nothing is there right now to exclude. So mark first as completed and exclude completed. Perfect. You can have many more items added. 3, 4, and let us say this also complete. The first item I always complete. There is the pending now. Let us complete that. Now delete all completed tasks. From server they are going to get deleted. So we have only one now. Now we can see all this reflected in the portal. So we can go to again EasyTables, select the table, and all the 4 items which we inserted, we are going to find it here, of which 3 will be marked as deleted. They are not permanently deleted. See, deleted, true, true and true. This is not deleted. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, we can connect to the database, and there also we can see that there is a table my to do, and in that table we have 4 records. We can see the same structure schema and the records in the database also. Using SQL Management Studio, you can connect and look at it. So In the previous example, Studio has given us a ready-made client and a ready-made server project. There I have explained you in the server project we are going to have web API, and that web API is responsible for providing the data whenever a client is going to request for it, as well as the web API was available for inserting, updating, deleting also. Now that web API is replaced with the easy table on server, and the client which was not explained properly in the previous chapter is well explained here on how we can make use of the mobile service client. This is the key. Mobile service client is the SDK. And also I already said before, this is making REST calls in background. All these methods are making REST calls in background and communicating with the server. So this seems to be little easy because we do not have to manage the server side component. We just manage the easy table. But mind you, the limitation of this is, in addition to adding an item, if you want to do something more, and that code if you want to write on server, we don't have that facility here. Whereas when we are making use of the web API, the table API, table storage, then in such case we have the method, and in the method we can do any kind of additional task. That is the main difference between using easy table and the quick start projects. But yes, the client is in both the cases same. I can always write the my to do class, XAML class, which I have written here. I can make a partial version of it available in the shared project, and the same XAML I would probably redesign here also for the mobile Windows phone. So whatever design we have done for the Windows Store app, the same thing you can do for the Windows Phone app. And the Windows main page.xaml code, you can move it to the shared project so that it works in both. Let's see if we can quickly do this. So I go to first XAML, copy the XAML, and here I paste. Of course, certain small changes we'll have to make. The screen is not same size. Move it up. And we have add button also. So here also the name is main page. Now what I'll do, whatever I have here, the same thing as it is, I'll copy and I'll add it in the main page dot xaml.cs. Oh, I should have selected the class. Add a new item class main page dot XAML dot CS and here paste everything. Now about these errors, go to original main page dot XAML dot CS and delete everything from here because we have all this already there. Including the constructor and these things. Just keep this blank. So now build it. Some error. The call is ambiguous between following methods main page dot initial component. Now here main page and here also we will have main page. Navigate to initialize component. Okay, the problem is the constructor is there in the main page here. So what I'll do is here also I have constructor. So I'll copy this constructor in the respective main page classes of both the Windows project and here let the initialize component be there as it is, and in the shared project main page here I'll remove the constructor and instead override initialize component. Oh, it's not even overridable. Defines a member column, same. So this method is actually automatically getting generated somewhere. So we can't write this method, nor we can add a constructor here. So now we have only one choice. Go to here, let us add bind to do, and here also let us add bind to do. The constructor has to be duplicated. That's the only option we have. Now it should work fine. Yes. This is Windows Store app. Now right click on Windows Phone, set as startup project, and let's run this also. Control and F5. We have few errors in the context of could not be found. Let's use rebuild all. My to do could not be found. Yes. The problem is my to do class which I added to the main project, Windows project, I have to move that also to the shared project. So from here I can delete. So basically we should not do anything specifically in a Windows Store project. Everything should be done in the shared project. We are still getting the error. Newtonsoft could not found. Okay, that is because in the Windows Phone NuGet package we have to get the Newtonsoft. Now build it once again. Same thing in the Windows Store project, NuGet package, we have to get the mobile client SDK. So the references which we added earlier for only Windows Store project, we have to add for the mobile or Windows Phone project also. Now rebuild it, and it succeeded. Press Ctrl and F5 and the application is loading. So we have universal app, the app which is going to work for desktop as well as for mobile phone, and the code is there in the shared app. Everything is under shared. The app is going to be installed. Registering. You can see in output window the progress. Now it should come up here. And here it goes. 5 add gets listed here. 6. Everything is going to work as it is before. So like this, we can develop a universal app with within no time for communication with the server. And on server also, it hardly took any time for creating a My To Do table using Easy Tables option. That's all in this. Thank you.